The Able to Care podcast is sponsored by Able Training Support Limited, who build partnerships with organisations to develop confidence and competence in their team to promote positive outcomes for all. Find the link in the description. Hello and welcome to the Able to Care podcast. I am your host, Andy Baker, and joining me is Nadine Sutton, my co-host.
Hello.
Hello. And I am privileged and honoured to be joined this episode by Sosa Henkoma. I'm sure to say it right.
Yeah, you got it.
It's so good to have you, man. Thank you very much for joining us. So Sosa has travelled all the way up from London today to come and join us on the podcast. He is a keynote speaker. He's been in the Guardian newspaper. You'll have to remind me where else you've been. I've watched a few things of yours as well. I've quite a few TV episodes and stuff. But again, specialist, lived experience, and I've read the Guardian article. It is incredible, the journey you've been on to get to where you are now. So before I kind of get people to kind of hear about your story and stuff, what would you hope, just from doing a podcast like this, because I think you've done quite a few media bits and stuff, what's the main message that you kind of want to get out to people when you're doing stuff like this?
I would say it's mainly bringing awareness, but also the fact of like explaining that something where my community looks at it as normal is not normal. So it's actually taking that normalization from something that we believe is normal, where it's not normal. Actually, the actual fact is exploitation.
Right. So do you want to tell us your story then, man?
Originally, I was born in Nigeria, and obviously being born in Nigeria, that was obviously different. And obviously I come from a whole different culture where respect your elders, and obviously even in schools, you're allowed to be beaten in schools and all these type of things. So obviously my culture was a bit different. But then obviously from a young age, at the age of 2, my mother obviously went missing. And obviously in her going missing already, I felt I'll say abandoned at a young age, which obviously left that abandoned feeling within me. But then shortly after that, I was then introduced to my father, and then I was then brought over to the UK by my stepmom, which was obviously just married my father. And when I was brought over, it was a fact of obviously being brought over to the UK. I'm from Nigeria. I'm thinking, right, and most of the time, I'll be real, I only saw white people on TV. So imagine coming off the plane and seeing loads of white people. I'm there like, right, this must be Hollywood, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, literally, and people are like, hello. Like, I'm like, oh, no, hello. You know what I'm saying? So I'm more excited to see people, and I'm thinking, raw. So I'm thinking it's a new beginning. It's like a whole new world for me. Like my youngest daughter just went to Thailand. And when I was speaking to her over there, she's like, I can't wait to come back to my world. And for me, it was like that. Like literally, it was a whole new world for me. So coming to the UK and then obviously having a new mum, like a first ever mother figure, for me, that was exciting. Like I couldn't wait. And especially I'm now living with my dad. So for me, it's like I had a family unit. And that's something that I probably say from a young age that I probably really wanted. So shortly after coming into the UK, relationship broke down with obviously in a household with me and my stepmom, where my stepmom became physically and also mentally abusive. And that lasted for a couple of months, where for me, I would say it was a sense of like, I was kind of confused where as a child, where I'm thinking to myself, obviously this is, she's my mum, because that's what my dad told me, like, this is your mum now. And also, I'm also thinking, but I'm scared of her. Like, I'm terrified of this woman, like, literally. So it was like, I didn't understand how, like, what love or any of that type of thing it was within parents. Like, my dad was always working, so I'm always at home with my stepmom. So for me, it was just a factor of, like, this is how clearly you show people, like, this is what people do, innit? This is how relationships are like. So my sense of what relationship looks like was already messed up from then. So shortly after that, I ran away. Like after I probably say I had enough and just thought, you know what? Yeah, and obviously I had a friend in school that was telling me, obviously he's British and obviously this time I'm foreign, so he's telling me, oh, yeah, you can call social services and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, what is social services? Like, what are you talking about? Like, literally. So obviously, I'll say he probably gave me the strength to actually understand that, right, you know what? You can leave, innit? And for me, straight away, I'll probably say left, ran away. And then in the process of running away, I was trying to look for my uncle's house, but I didn't know how to get there. So
How old would you been at this point?
I was 8. I'm saying to you, so I didn't really know how to get there.
No.
I'm saying to you, so I'm
Yeah.
trying to find my way there. End up obviously getting lost, asking for direction. And asking for direction, I was police was then called, and then I was put into care. When I was put into care again, that's obviously another unfamiliar territory for me too. And now on top of that, I don't have no familiar faces. So obviously, at least before I had my dad, and obviously I knew that's my dad. You know what I'm saying to you now is that I have no one. So again, I felt another sense of loss, like literally, and also felt another sense of loss of identity because it was that my dad obviously is my dad and he can help me shape who I'm meant to be growing up. So it was that who's gonna then obviously take that position. And when I was put into the placement, it was just then the fact of like obviously she was a single mom and she had a only one child. So obviously already her child was used to being the only child. Is what I say to you.
Yeah.
And in him being used to being the only child, it was a factor of raw. This little kid, like they were gonna say to you that, and
Yeah.
where did he come from? Do you know what I mean? So that was obviously another issue, another barrier with us forming some form of relationship. But I would say that he did make efforts sometimes, like literally trying to teach me how to play basketball. He's probably the only reason how I actually enjoy it and I love basketball. So I ended up obviously, doing that. But then shortly after that, it was a fact of her family. I say with social services, the background check is only done on the adults and never really done on the kids. So obviously, I was obviously involved with the family get-togethers and the family gathering, and being involved in a family gathering, I got to meet other family members, and then me and other family members, I ended up meeting. I'll probably say to obviously in the right terminology, he would be classed as my foster cousin. But for me, he was more of a foster brother.
Right.
For me, he was more of an older brother to me. I'm trying to say it to you. So in meeting him, he then obviously took a liking into me. So straight away, it was more of I look different and I dress different these times and I spoke different. So he started teaching me how to speak. I started looking at him as a role model. So I started copying his behaviors. So in copying his behaviors, I'm learning like how to not speak proper English, but I'm learning how to actually speak slang.
Yep.
But literally, but for me, that now became my English, like literally my proper English. So, and then even him dressing me, so that literally getting me tracksuits and shoes and all these type of things. Like for me, I'm not dressing like how he would dress. So he only knows what he knows for himself.
Yeah.
So he's trying to then teach me what he knows for himself. So in that period of time, I built a bond with him, a very, very strong relationship. And in building that strong relationship, I would say it was a fact of like he slightly became like the only family member that I actually had at that moment of time. Even though he came from a wider family network, he actually became the only family member that I felt connected to, I
Yeah.
felt like I could speak to, and I felt understood me.
Sounds like he accepted you, even though he was kind of directing you in one way, isn't it? As far as
for
but
me,
you felt accepted by him.
especially in primary school, going into school, I'm getting bullied because I spoke different, I look different, everything I'm getting picked at, like literally, and I'm getting into then fights and things. And then especially then going home to my stepmom at that time, when I was in primary school, it was a fact of I'm going home to be then beaten for getting into fights because I'm being bullied. Like, so for me, nothing made sense for me in that period of time. It was very, very confusing. And the only thing when I got into care that made sense to me was this person. Like, so shortly after that, he disappeared. And obviously at that moment of time to me, he disappeared. Obviously now I knew he was incarcerated. So him disappearing was a big, I'll say another loss for me in my life. And in losing him, I tried to find other ways to fill that gap. And then trying to find ways to fill that gap, I was then introduced, I'll say in that summer period between year 6 to year 7, you know, like literally you're getting into year 7 now, you're trying to build relationships with different people, trying to find out what schools other people are and all these type of things. So I'm going to the park, like literally to chill, just be around people my age. And in that period of time going to the park, I met older kids, which were a bit older than me in the park. And obviously straight away they had girls chilling with them. And obviously me, I'm young. I'm thinking, yo, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking, yeah, what? Some girls, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, hello. And obviously the girls were the one I probably say probably attracted me to the group more. Because the girls like, oh, right, you got a nice bike and all these type of things. And for me, it was like, oh, shit, that's my bike. You know what I'm saying? Like literally like, so I'm now thinking that obviously these people are cool people. So I'm trying to chill with them and obviously trying to build that relationship with them. And also I like the girl. You know what I mean? But obviously the girl, one of the girl that obviously that I liked, her boyfriend was obviously within the group. So straight away it was a fact of, oh, you got a bike. So you can quickly go to da-da-da-da's house and drop whatever you need to drop. So for me, it was that I became like literally, I'll probably say, yeah, I became more like pattern for the group because I had the bike in it. And the excuse that everyone had is you have the bike. So for me is that because I got the bike, it makes sense. And I'm not willing to give them my bike because I don't trust them and they might take my bike.
Yeah.
So I'm on this, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm doing things for them. I'm helping in it. So I've done that for a bit. And in doing that for a bit, it was to me probably the easiest thing to make friends. And I literally, because I've done that a few times and everyone, yeah, we're good. Like, literally, you know, I'm able to chill. I'm able to follow them around. Like literally, I was able to be cool in it. And in that whole period of time, it was a fact of I probably say I built a relationship with them, but even that relationship was not probably the strongest relationship, but it was a relationship of feeling validated and feeling valued. And feeling like that, I was then introduced to their elders. And when I was introduced to their elders, straight away, they're obviously on this financial gain type of thing. Like, oh, raw, why don't you go away for a week? Straight away, like I said to you, I had that culture background where it was like, oh, that my foster carer won't be happy about that.
Yeah.
Literally, that's my thought process. So I'm telling them, oh, I can't go away because of my mum. So to them, it was just like, cool, let's simplify it now. Boom. Why didn't you go in the morning and then we'll pick you up in the evening? Simple. For me, okay, I can do that. I'm saying to you. So in doing that, like literally, I'll probably say that's probably the first time, probably, except from family, like feeling deceived from obviously my stepmom and everyone else. I'll probably say that was the first time I was probably deceived outside of home. You know what I'm saying to you? So it was like, I felt raw, like, I'm going there for the day and they'll pick me up in the evening. But evenings come now, no one's picking me up and no one's picking up the phone. So I'm thinking, raw, like, why is no one answering that? What's going on here? So me just thinking, oh, they're probably gonna be late. They're probably coming probably later on. You know what I'm trying to say to you? 2 days has gone past and now we're on the third day, no one ain't came. But on the third day now, I'm hearing a knock on the door. And then hearing a knock on the door, like shortly after that, man, I'm having a shotgun being pointed at my face. And obviously at this time, I was probably the age of 11. So
Right. So where were you at this point? So where had they sent you to, or is this when you were
outside of London. So we're talking Kent.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So for me, it was a bit like, okay, at that moment in time, I'll say for me at that time, I'm probably thinking, yeah, I'm dead. You know what I'm saying to you? But it was also the fact of, I'll probably say that from a young age, I probably felt fed up of life. Like literally from a very, very young age. So I would say that most of my life I've been very, very much like unconsciously suicidal. You know what I'm gonna say to you? Thinking like, oh, raw, boom. Like if I probably say compare myself in a lot more danger, like would have got me the result or the attention that I probably thought that I needed. I'm gonna say to you. But I never really, and consciously, I never knew that.
Yeah.
Can I ask you though, like, did it make you slightly like fearless? And that's probably why you just, even if it was unconscious, so I don't really want this life anyway. So whatever happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Like literally, and obviously for an exploiter, especially for an exploiter that wants a child soldier, really and truly, that's like the perfect recipe,
Yeah.
literally for them. And that's exactly what happened after, was the fact of, obviously I had a shotgun being pointed at my face, and then they recognized who I was. And then recognizing who I was, they were friends of my, obviously technically my foster carer's nephew, but my older brother, like literally my older brother.
Yeah.
So straight away, it was like, oh, what are you doing here? And obviously, we come from the community of no snitching. By the end of the day, I was 11. I was snitching to these guys. I was telling them, yo, hey, listen, I came on Monday. Bro, I've been trying to call people. No one didn't pick me up. Bro, like, I need to get back home.
Yeah.
Like, literally, like, I'm just talking like a cappella all the way through. Like, but they probably wanted me to shut up. Like, literally. So I'm just there telling them, yeah. But obviously, straight away they took me back to London. But on the way back to London, at that moment of time, obviously coming from Nigeria, I didn't know what crack cocaine was. I didn't know what heroin was. So to me, it was just light and dark. That I was told that literally this person might want, they might come to you and say they want 3 lights and 1 dark. You know what I'm saying to you? So for me, it was like, okay, cool. Like, I knew that, but I never really knew the whole, oh yeah, this is crack cocaine, this is heroin, this is class A drugs.
Yeah.
Like, so for me, I'm quite oblivious to the whole thing. So
At that age, you're gonna be though, aren't you?
I'm saying
Yeah.
that. So I'm just there like, okay.
Colour coded is going to work much better for your brain at that
Than
time.
anything else telling me
Definitely.
the whole, you know what I'm saying? I didn't understand all of that. So
Yeah.
for me, I'm just telling them, I got the parcel and I also got money. So I'm like, what do I do with this? Obviously, straight away, they're telling me keep it. And for me, I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do with a parcel though. I don't know what to do with this. But obviously, man's 11. I don't know what to do with money. You know what I'm trying to say to you? I 100% know what to do with money. So straight up, literally, someone's taken the parcel off me and I've kept the money. So straight away, when I've come back to London, a couple of weeks later, probably like less than 2 weeks, I'm getting phone calls from the people that took me up there. And straight away, it was threatening, like, oh, we're going to come after your foster carer. Obviously, they thought it was my mum, so they were going to come after your mum and you. Like, literally, you better make sure we don't see you, this and that and that. Like, literally, it's either you're bringing us our food, or obviously food, when they're talking about food, they mean the context of drugs or money. And for me at that moment in time, I'm trying to negotiate on the phone. My little 11, I was 11 trying to negotiate with them, thinking, you know what, I've got the money, but I don't have the drugs. Like, but I've got the money, like literally, because obviously they're calling it food. So I'm saying to them, I've got the money, but I don't have the food. I don't have the food. And at that moment of time, it was more of a fact of like, they were like, if either you're bringing both or So I'm trying to look for help, some form of support. Obviously went to my guardian at that moment of time, which unfortunately was social services. But also I'll say to not so much blame social services. Obviously, the Modern Day Slavery Act came out in 2015. So when you're really speaking about exploitation, no one really knew about exploitation, especially only sexual exploitation.
Yeah.
So for them, it was a fact of they didn't think, I could be getting exploited, or like they was thinking that, nah, it can't be happening.
So just naughty kid.
Like, even for me, it wasn't even naughty kid. It was just, for me, it was a fact of you must be fantasizing. This
Right.
cannot be real. Like,
Yeah.
this can't actually be happening.
So
for
an
me,
11-year-old talking about a shotgun in his face. Sounds
I'm
a
trying to
little
say
bit
to
like a
you.
movie, doesn't it? Rather than,
so for them, it was like, it can't be happening.
Yeah.
And obviously, for me, obviously now as an adult, I don't really blame them. As a child, it was like, you don't not gonna help me. So straight away, I've gone to the people, which at that moment of time, they looked like my savior. Like, literally, because obviously they took me away from that spot, that place, when them people didn't come pick me up. And then now I'm coming to them and I'm saying to them, my life is in danger and I need help. And straight away, I'm being given a revolver and I'm being told, this is how you safeguard yourself. So for me, it was a fact of like, they became like my Superman. Like, literally, they became my proper like family.
I was going to say, did they start to feel more like family
Yeah,
at this point as
they
well? So they're
became
going to
more like
look
my
after.
protector.
Yeah, they're
Like,
going to look
literally.
after you and stuff.
So for me, it was that at that moment of time, I was in care,
Yeah.
but my guardians were actually the gang, not actually my carers. Like, literally. So even being taught how to cook, how to do certain things, I was being taught by them, not by actual like anyone in like that's meant to be actually taking care of me. So the relationship became stronger, And as the relationship became stronger, I became, I'll say, someone that all you gotta do say is go, and I'm go, because at the end of the day, you're my family. And if really and truly you wouldn't make me do something that you wouldn't do, so I know 100% this must be all right for me to do. So slightly, I'll say the understanding of like what's right and what's wrong was kind of blurred. So for me, it was like a lot of things when people was kind of telling me, oh, you are naughty for doing this. But in my head is that, how can I be naughty when I'm being rewarded for this? Like literally, so the reward, like, and then I'm being shamed by services and everyone else for my behavior, but I'm being rewarded by these orders.
It's quite an interesting thing. I think it's a difficult perspective for people to get, isn't it? In the fact that looking from the outside, you can immediately see, well, drug dealing's bad, having a shotgun in your face is bad. You know, all these things, being abandoned in a place you didn't know when you were 11 is bad. But if they were just the norm for you and the people that you trusted, as we were chatting earlier about the kind of trust factor, it's a weird form of trust, isn't it? But they were there for you. At least they stayed with you. They did come and pick you up, even if it took them a while. And stuff like that. So
if we really want to bring it more like reality wise, is that cool? Everyone, when they see child soldiers in movies or even on TV, they feel sorry for child soldiers. Because they're currently being exploited within our country. But it's hard for people to actually sit down and realize that this is happening in the front door. And instead, young people are being criminalized for not actually knowing better. Like literally, because even from a young age, I was sentenced from a young age when I was a kid. I was arrested and I was obviously sent to a secure unit, then obviously a YOY. And in that whole period of time of being sentenced to a secure unit and a YOY, I probably said it probably made me more worse on the fact of like, I felt even more not heard, not listened to. So it was like now I'm beating that. Now is that services ask, right, why, how come young people don't want to engage with the police? It's because at the end of the day, the police are there to punish. And that's how young people are looking at it, not enforce, not to say, not to protect, none of that. They look at it as, you're here to punish me. So even me going through the criminal justice system, I started realizing, and my thought process is that, especially with the elders telling me, you don't trust the police and you don't do this and you don't do that. And then now I'm now being criminalized and I'm being told that, oh yeah, I'm this and I'm that. I'm going to sit down and think, oh yeah, I can't trust these people. This is why I can't trust these people. Because these people at the end of the day, they don't have my best interest. Now literally, but to me and how it looked like my exploiters do. Now literally, so it was,
Well, they're supposed to, even though it's a twisted form of looking after you in the fact that it's because you're a commodity, you're worthwhile to me, and in sort of actually I can use you, it's still at least they're protecting you. At least they're kind of looking out for you and making sure you're okay day to day, and you have got food and you've got stuff that you want and stuff like that. Isn't it?
I would say I'll probably say it was like literally when I was even discussing it, I think the other day, the fact of focusing on the immediate needs, and that's what they done. Is that for them, they focused on my immediate need, and in them focusing on my immediate need, like literally, it was like open doors for them, like literally, because it was like, oh, as long as we make sure that these things are covered for him, he would do anything we ask him to do, like literally.
And those things look really attractive if you've not had them or they've gone missing at different points of your life and things like that. So the comfort, nurture, like you really wanted that, 100%. Didn't you?
And I think what I find strange, and it's weird, isn't it? So obviously they just do this automatically. They've not got a planned kind of how are we going to manipulate this kid? They just go straight into the immediate gratification, making sure you got what you want and what you need and stuff like that. But then ultimately then are coercing you. But I don't think they go in with that mentality of, hey, we know exactly how to strategize this. So that's natural. But what I find difficult is then when you get kids who go into the care system, caregivers who are positively looking to try and bring you out of these bad things, are looking to not coerce you, but improve the quality of your life, not use you. Don't go in with that same mentality. We just got to stabilize. We just got to make you know, here you're safe, here you're warm, here you're fed. Don't worry about the rest of it for the minute. We'll get round to the behavior stuff later, but just let us know. Do you mean why is that intuitive to people who are looking to manipulate, but not intuitive to people who are looking to help?
I would say it's the way it is. I'll say the way it's packaged. the way it's packaged is I'll put you on,
Mm.
like literally, so you feel like on a slight, on a low, that someone's doing you a favor,
Yeah.
like literally that you're being helped rather than actually where it is, like literally, because obviously even now as an adult, I sit down and think, raw, like I made these adults rich, like literally as a child, I made all of these people rich.
Yeah.
And me as a child, I was just thinking, right, like, what was you thinking?
Mm.
Like literally, like, I just made all of these people like rich, and I was just like literally and I went through the trauma, not able to, the PTSD, not able to sleep at night, and even now as an adult, still having sweats in my sleep, not able to deal with certain actions and acts that have happened in my childhood. I'm
Mm.
gonna say to you, and like literally at that moment of time, if I really think hard about it, is right, they were at home with their family, doing happy families with their kids, and now even for me, just to engage with my kids, I find like I need to understand how to engage, like how to read these things, and that, because I don't understand, and I don't want to be something that literally that is what was given to me, not who I truly am.
Mm.
So yeah.
Have you had any? Has there been any positive role models in your life?
Yeah, but not as a child.
No.
I'll
No.
probably say as an adult. As a child, I was surrounded. I'm the honest truth, and if we're keeping it real, I was surrounded by murderers and drug dealers,
Mm.
like literally, and robbers. Literally, that was my whole. That was my whole network, like
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
And it was either someone's calling for something or someone's trying to make me do something.
Mm.
Like literally, it was always that type of maneuvers.
Yeah.
But then, as an adult, I would say obviously I had a trauma informed organization, which they taught, even the way I speak now, they taught me a lot of how to understand my experience. And in understanding my experience, I would say it was very, very important to me, because once I was able to understand my experience, like I said, I was able to put it into understanding that raw. Like,
Do you think it's like having that label of just a criminal taken off you a little bit to say,
Yeah.
hang on, yeah, I have done some things that would be classed as illegal, obviously,
Yeah.
but the reasons why, and that you're not just a criminal, you was a child that was put in a situation that
Yeah.
you should never have been, who's like, that's not your fault.
100%.
Can imagine like going like that in adulthood was like light bulb moments again, like
Yeah.
we'll talk like, shit, this wasn't my fault. I didn't deserve that.
There's always a bit of this issue, isn't it? It's, there is things like the racial profiling you get from the police and stuff, that they're kind of seen as the enemy, they're picking on. But I think you probably, well, I think one of the messages you try and get out there is works the other way around as well. That, you know, it isn't a case of all of that organisation are bad. So what are your experiences of that?
I would say that obviously for young people, they look at things as in that obviously they'll have an experience with one person within that service. So that could be like with like a police officer, and the fact of them having that one bad experience with that service, straight away for them is like, oh, you know what, like I don't want to work with this service. And what I try to encourage with my young people is, at the end of the day, don't blame the collective because of the individual. Like literally, at the end of the day, that doesn't mean the whole service is bad. Like literally, that individual person may just not obviously be that good, in it. If I say to you, it's that simple. But then obviously flipping on the other side too, is that with services, they obviously at the end of the day, they want to understand, they want young people to work with them and engage with them. But at the end of the day, how can you expect young people to work with you and engage with you when to them they're gonna feel like they're gonna be shamed and blamed for all these type of things? Like, and that's why I said, if you break down the criminal justice system is practically made to do that. Like literally, if you think about like I think the youngest age you can be arrested is the age of 10. Like literally, so if now you're arresting a 10-year-old and you're sentencing a 10-year-old to a prison sentence, what future do you expect that 10-year-old to have? Like literally, at the end of the day, we should be really and truly focusing on why and how they got here. So, and focus on the root rather than actually just sitting there thinking, you know what, yeah, this young person has committed a crime. Like literally, it's always focused on the numbers and, oh yeah, like literally, we have a I remember like obviously we all know that obviously from the 1st of March, obviously a lot of police raid has been happening. And I remember being questioned about the police raid. Like, what do I think about it? And for me, I thought, bro, like, it's useless. Because really and truly, give it literally probably less than a day, the whole line is going to be replaced. Like literally, you're not actually dealing with the actual cause. You're just here, just doing it for show.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, let's not focus on doing things for show. If we want result, we need to focus on the root. And if you focus on the root, really and truly, the root mainly is trauma and them not understanding or having any form of emotional intelligence. Like literally, if now I was the way I was at the age of I am now at the age of 10, personally, I feel like it would probably be impossible to groom me because I would have been a bit more like, oh, nah, I'm gonna be a basketball player or I'm gonna be a dancer. You are not disturbed. No way. Like literally, I've got this to do, I've got that to do. Even raising my own kids, like my goal is to have them so occupied and busy with activities and building their skills and their knowledge that they don't have time to be literally to be anywhere or doing anything. Like literally, like that to me at the end of the day is the only way I'm gonna have my kids safe, where I know that at the end of the day that they have enough skills to help them and to also they're able to create any opportunity that they would like to create. And also they never feel at any point that less than I'm not able to achieve. Like literally, because at the end of the day, for me, as soon as it goes back to that care factor of when you reward the reward system, where at the end of the day, a child will do something to really and truly to expect to be rewarded. But then once they're not rewarded, it's like, raw, like, what's the point of still doing that? You know what I'm saying to you?
Yeah, 100%.
So for me, is that any time, like even my child comes home with an achievement, for me is that even though it's just a certificate and some people think, oh, bro, she's this age, she should know how to write. Yeah, I don't care, bro. You mad? You came back with a certificate. We lit. Like, you know what I'm saying to you? Like, I'm telling them, yeah, literally, we're winning here. Like, literally, like. And for them, even just to see that sometimes it's not always giving them like a reward. It's just giving them that like confirmation that they've done good. Like literally, like you're proud of them. And just that appreciation alone can literally help a child actually just grow even more. And that's literally it.
I think it's a fundamental thing I try and the system is a few things you mentioned in there, and I definitely get frustrated by it, but I completely understand. There's an ingrained system of still punishment reward, and there's this ingrained mentality that, but the only way to correct bad behavior is it must be punished. There must be there's a sense of innate need for justice.
Yeah.
Even with a 10-year-old, it's a case of, well, they need to learn through punishment. For me, trying to get over, like, well, their brain's not even fully mature until they're 25, as an average, and males is about 30. So how are we going to hold a 10-year-old accountable for however long in their life? Because that 10-year-old is going to be different child next year, year after year after. They've still got so much potential and so much kind of opportunity ahead, and taking all that away from that one act, I think is not good.
It's mad.
The stuff you said there about rewarding, though, is really important as well. And I think what you said fundamentally, though, is that you demonstrate pride towards your kid. It's not necessarily about the kind of the reward or the sweet or anything like that. Because as you rightly said, especially when you've been raised in a situation of these people manipulate me through giving me good things or bad things, to kind of like the love bombing, the push pulling and stuff like that. That then when they go into any of the other settings, we're just then reinforcing, oh, this is how all adults behave.
Yeah.
They'll give me things when I behave as they want, and they'll take things away when I behave as I don't want. So why should I trust these people who say they're good differently from the people who they're now telling me were bad?
Yeah.
But they're displaying exactly the same behaviors.
But if you really look at it, how I look at this is that, cool, exploitation is everywhere. Like, it's everywhere. Even people that work a 9 to 5, I'll be real with you, you're being exploited. Well, you're being exploited just in a way where it's acceptable.
Don't tell my staff that, mate. I got a business to run, mate.
But like, that's the honest truth. Is literally exploitation is everywhere. Just at the end of the day, some exploitation is acceptable than the other.
It's whether it's a fair trade or not, to a certain degree, isn't it? Yeah, there's an advantage being taken.
That's where it is, like literally. And if you really think about it, it's that in all form, like when you apply for a job, they entice you to the job. They tell you, beautiful pay, this and that, pension, all of these type of things. You're gonna get this and gonna get that. And then most of the time, you're gonna want to do the job, and then you want to climb ladders, and you want to become the best person that you are. Like, these exploiters are giving jobs to our 13 and 12-year-old, where in this world is saying that they can't work,
Yeah.
like they can't do this and they can't do that. But then now their next door neighbor, which is let's say 4 years older than them, is telling them, well, you can work for me though. Yeah. What do
And
you
have the
think?
best trainers and a nice tracksuit.
I'm trying to say to you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what do you and then literally imagine you're also in a household where your mum's not able to provide for you because at the end of the day she's just literally struggling enough to put the light, the literally the electrics, the gas, and even the rent and literally the food on your plate. So you're feeling like you're lacking things, and then you feeling like you're lacking things, and then you have your next door neighbor telling you, bro, you can come work for me and I will pay you practically more than your mum.
Yeah.
Literally more than your mum. You're gonna think to yourself, bro, mum, stop working. Like
Yeah, yeah.
literally, I got you. You know what I'm trying to say to you. And that's where even some parents end up falling into that. Like literally where is that they did not know, like literally this is where it was gonna take them. By the end of the day, now they're stuck in it, and then now they're feeling trapped themselves within in that whole thing too. Because it's that I feel like even social services and a lot of services is that straight away everything is who do we blame? When something goes wrong, it's always who do we blame? Not let's come together and let's think of a way to figure this out. It's not our fault. It must be the parents. If it's not the parents' fault, if not it's from the parents, it's not our fault. It must be the school, or it must be da 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 da. It must be da 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 da. Like I feel like we're in a culture of a lot of everyone blaming each other. But when really and truly, if we stop blaming and we just focus on the roots of what's actually going on, we will end up getting a lot more results. And everything is always financial. That's why I said to you, really and truly, we're in a world where everyone's being exploited. Like literally everything is financial. We're in a living crisis right now where everything's up and everything's expensive. So everything is financial, really and truly. So with these, like with young people and everything else, yeah, it's like raw boom. We don't want to engage with the service because we can't actually see past the fact that this is a financial thing.
There's an element of that. I agree with you wholeheartedly as far as the kind of financial, but I think one of the things I try and get over that money isn't always everybody's motivator. It's not necessarily about the money. Even when you go for a job, like when you've experienced working, it's not always about, because there's people who do jobs where they could actually earn more money doing something else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They do it because there's a passion for it. I think there's a fundamental kind of bit there where it's about feeling valued and about feeling like you have a sense of worth. And it's who's going to give you that.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be a boss, and I think that's the thing is, like, if you feel valued by your boss, you'll put up with a lower wage. If you
100%.
genuinely feel valued and you feel you're contributing towards something worthwhile and stuff like that. And I think that's the same with, although our skewed perspective might be, well, our perspective might be whoever is exploiting the child or whatever has got that kind of negative view. We see it as a bad thing. You're doing it for bad reasons. But for the child, I'm feeling like a sense of worth. I'm feeling like I matter. Yeah, it's nice to get the nice trainers and stuff. It probably, as much as anything, motivation might be money for some, but for many, it's going to be the sense of purpose, the sense, and the self-esteem that comes with that as well.
100%.
And I think I have a big thing, a bit of a pandemic in this country, that self-esteem they took away the self-esteem used to come purely through mastery, through purely being able to achieve, through success, through being told, I'm proud of you because you couldn't do that yesterday and you could do that today and you should be proud of you, to a case of we should all just feel good because we are. And I think it's a case of, but that isn't believed. It's false. It doesn't, no kids just believe they're good just because they're told by somebody else they're good. It's like, well, but why am I good? They need a justification for that. And that's where, whether it be a criminal exploiting gang kind of going, you're good because you managed to do that job or you delivered that or whatever it was, or whether it's a teacher or somebody going, you're good because you can do that yesterday. It's amazing.
I'll say it's obviously act of service. Like literally, when you think about it, it's literally an act of service.
Yeah.
Like for most of the time, it's like at the end of the day, most of these young people feel appreciated because they're able to do something where they're valued, or like they feel like they're worth something within that organization. Do you know what I'm gonna say to you? And then really and truly, they're not even looking at it as an organization. They're looking at like literally, that's my brothers. Those are man's dogs. Those are man's homies. I'm gonna say to you. So, and even in the obviously with the trauma informed organization I was with, is that they have like three main things, which is like safety, and is that then from safety is connection and then purpose. But with them three things is I'll say the most important thing. Like literally, because at the end of the day, for me, in my recovery, I had to feel safe within that relationship with the lady I was working with.
Mm.
And then feeling safe within that relationship, I was able to share more. And then she was able to make me understand more. And then we felt connected. And then me feeling connected, I was then able to then find out who I really am. Now, literally. And that's when I was able to then find a purpose. You know what I'm trying to say to you? So it's that if I would say really and truly, if every and more services really worked like that, they would have a lot more, I'll have a lot more results.
Success,
Yeah. But it's more of a fact of, like I said, it's more of a fact of, do we look good? It's a lot of, do we look good? Do we look good? But really and truly, on the surface, they may look good, but the work that they're actually doing, for me, sometimes I feel like, they're not really putting that drive in there.
I suppose it's difficult to record trust building.
Yeah.
You can record the outcomes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100%.
As far as,
Yeah.
we got this outcome, I can put that on a bit of paper, show Ofsted, CQC, whatever the organisation is, again, aren't we great?
But
Whereas just trust building, connection building.
I think it's scary for a lot of services. I think there's a lack of knowledge, and that's why it's not acknowledged, if that makes sense. So like when we talk about trauma and stuff, like we teach ranges of people from ranges of services and stuff, and it baffles us sometimes where we sit there and think, but again, it's not blaming them, but it's like, if you understood this about this condition or this person or this background or whatever it is, then maybe you'd have more insight. But instead it's like referral, I'll pass the book, so pass the child over, or I'll pass the adult or whatever, because we don't understand much about this and we don't have the resources to go into it either as well. I think resources is a big issue.
Yeah.
But also, it's not, I'll say like, at the end of the day, knowledge comes from being curious. Let's be like, literally, at the end of the day, even getting into university, I didn't wake up in the morning and said, I'm going to get into university. You know what I'm trying to say to you? It was a fact of that I was curious. And me being curious, the opportunity was then found. You know what I'm trying to say to you? It's that if you want something in this world, one thing, even from being from my community and being raised in my community, is a fact of, like, we was raised of, if you want something in this world, you gotta go get it. Like literally, you gotta be a go-getter. Like most of these young people who have been criminally exploited, who are now being classed as criminals and all these type of things, if you put them in a business university or business study, whatever it is, they'll probably know how to run a business better than actual business. Like literally, if you put them in a different environment, they will learn how to literally run the thing probably better. And if really and truly people are saying, "Raw, boom, how can we prove that?" I'm literally the walking truth of that. Is that at the end of the day, is that I come from a community and environment where I saw no opportunities, no way out. Once I was given a position where I felt that there was a light at the end of the tunnel, I'm able to now shine and be the person that I truly am meant to be. So if now a lot of other young people had this opportunity and this type of services working with them, where at the end of the day, the service is not focused on, we just don't understand you, so we're just going to put you through our little system. No, it's try to understand that person and work on the fact of their needs, meet their needs. Because how can you expect a young person to be working with you if to them, their main need right now is financial support, or they don't have a home to go to? Bro, I'm not going to sit in this meeting and have a lovely conversation and think, yeah, see you next week, when really and truly, I don't know I'm going home tonight, bro. Like, literally, you get what I'm gonna say?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think there's a really nice thing that you sort of said there. It was about you take these kids and you put it in a different context. One thing's like behavior wise. I think in settings so aggression's a bad thing until you put it in a boxing ring, right? Lying's a bad thing until you make them an actor and put in a movie or they write a book. And it's exactly the same thing, isn't it? So being controlling, which you get a lot in I had to control because the only ways to survive or to keep myself safe was to control.
You feel me?
But then I'm going to be amazing at running a company because that's a skill to be able to have awareness of everything and being able to know what I want and stuff like that. So assertion is something we applaud in certain contexts,
But
and
even
this
if-
context everything. So these
even-
kids have skills. That's it.
Even if you take out that, even that from that controlling bit, take out that raw. Do you know how to run a line?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how to run a line? Cool, you know how to run a company.
Yeah.
You know how to manage workers.
Yeah.
Like literally, you know how to literally use people's strength. Like literally to achieve the common goal.
Yeah.
Like, so really and truly, I would say a gang has a lot of teamwork skills,
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
so much things that at the end of the day, services are not actually helping them tap. Like literally, like help them understand what they're actually good at.
Yeah.
And once you help them understand what they're good at, they can now understand they can contribute to this world. Like imagine you're living on an underground world, right? Where you feel like the surface don't understand you. All you need is that form of connection for someone to help you understand what you can bring to that surface world so you can actually be seen. You know what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
So obviously an incredible journey. You come out the other side, and now obviously you educate others, you do talks, obviously you work with youth as well to try and raise their awareness and change their points of view and stuff like that. So you've obviously, I don't know whether you feel like you've come out the other side as such, or, I'm sure there's still some things that pull you back in every now and again. But if you could go back, what are the kind of main things that you recognize now that you didn't know then?
I would say that's probably a lot. But for me, it would be, one of the main thing that really took me off guard as an adult was that to actually accept that I was suicidal as a child. Like to accept that, obviously, I've been shot and stabbed, and every single time I used to think to myself, like, everyone ran away. And I'm just there, like bro, like, are you crazy? Like, why didn't you run away too? Like, and all these type of things. And then actually going through and understanding these things, I actually ended up realizing that, to me, in my head, my father died at the age of 15. And that's roughly when I came out of prison. And then after that, it really went worse. Like, I was really entrenched into the gang and everything else. And when that happened, it was a fact of like, I was getting, a lot of things were happening. And it was that I realized that I really and truly wanted to meet my mum and dad because I thought they were dead. Because I thought they were dead, I thought the more I put myself in dangerous positions where I didn't feel strong enough to actually kill myself. I wanted someone else to do it for me. At the end of the day, no one's gonna miss, man.
Yeah.
And the people that are gonna miss me are like, they're not here. And to me, it was that to keep on every day living a life where everyone around you have family. Like imagine that you go to your friend's house or something and your friend's mum is being extra nice and you're just there like, she's weird. Like literally, like, do you know what I'm trying to say to you?
Don't trust that.
Like, do you know what I'm trying to say to you?
Yeah,
Like, constantly not knowing who to trust, constantly thinking, like, everyone is just, you don't fit in anywhere.
That's a huge misunderstanding I think people have around exploitation and stuff like that. Like, so solely a case of, if I praise you, if I say something nice to you, if I give you a compliment, so the people who've given you compliments in the past have been trying to exploit you.
Yeah.
So something that's going to be a trauma trigger.
Yeah.
Straight away.
A lot of times, like, imagine I do a lot of training and a lot of conferences and even I speak to my colleagues about being like, they're weird. Like, literally, I tell them like, like, what?
Yeah.
Like, these people, because everyone is like, like, you're so brave and so this. And for me, it's that, whoa, calm down. Like,
Yeah.
calm down. Like, I need to, like, literally. So it's very much like very, very, like, that's why I say, like, a lot of social cue I need to understand, and I don't understand it. And even for me now, as an adult, I try to learn. That's why I said, at the end of the day, knowledge comes from being curious.
It does,
Like,
yeah.
literally, I didn't just start speaking like this. I had to learn to actually understand what I went through, actually, like, literally, and then be able to then put it into words. Like, literally, and that's me being curious of who I am and what my experience was. Like, what was for me to be like this, act like this. Like, literally.
It does sound like curiosity drives you quite a lot, which I think is a nice thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say I live, one of the things I use a lot is I live an examined life. So every decision and everything that I do, I like to question even my own self. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I found it fascinating, and it's an amazing journey, and you've got such an insight, and yeah, I definitely want you to keep sharing. So obviously we'll make sure we put some links in as far as check out in the information on the podcast. Check him out, contact him, engage. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, Sosa. So thank you so much for joining us.
It's been nice to meet you. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right.